What's up, Soggy, Schmoopy, Dawson, and Joey? Y'all, it don't matter who you are, where you are on this spectrum, because being here don't mean nothing without having first been here. What you got is license to be all of it, license to be free, and license to free yourself from your own freedom. You know, the main paradox of free will, right, is that you're born in heaven, but of course you are free to leave. So you got this thing called freedom, where you leave divine order and will and heavenly being. You wander off and do your own dumbass will and create your own dumbass fate. But these are decisions you made long ago, okay? You didn't wake up this morning in heaven and decide to go be a dumbass. You were in a state of complete union before you were born, and your soul decided that there were still parts of itself that could experience just a little more heaven, and the way heaven increases is through the production of more dumbasses. More lead equals more gold. It's a simple equation. Now let's get back to talking about what is slave cake versus the celebratory cake of liberation, which is shared by Dawson and Joey, because they ain't down here where there ain't no cake, so they end up having to eat one another. I'm going to start out with a quote for you. Y'all have already figured everything out. All the pieces are on the table. You just ain't fit them together yet. So, if a union is to take place between opposites like spirit and matter, conscious and unconscious, purity and porn, smartass and dumbass, et friggin' cetera, it will happen in a third thing. Which represents not a compromise, but something entirely new. That's why, y'all, when you're in the bedroom together, and I'm assuming the number here is 2, y'all, I ain't even dealing in bedfuls of Little Debbies and Twinkies and like wrappers everywhere. Ew. No judgment. Ew. There's a reason humans get all orgy-porgy, okay? And it goes way back to the gods. But biologically, we've already figured out that if that's what you want to experience, you're better off just being a little piggy, or being a frog, or being a bunny. There are better bodies for just enjoying a sensation. So be careful with that kind of behavior, because what you're asking for is to be reincarnated as a totally different creature. Like, seriously, there's no judgment until you become human. And that's why it's so hard to be human. And it's why you want to regress to being things that just feel good. But here's the thing about just feeling good in a sensation kind of way. It ain't got no memory. It feels good, and it feels good, and it feels good, and it don't even know it exists. All that ecstasy is really stasis, stagnancy. The stag is consumed by his own horny nature. He don't proceed along his path to becoming that strong and humble moose or that noble elk. See all them dead deer on the side of the road every summer? They'd rather get hit by cars than get charged at by another stag. This went way darker than just sensation, didn't it? Now maybe you're starting to understand why we're dealing in heaven and hell. When we're dealing with sex, nothing more and nothing less. What's interesting is down here, you think it ain't serious. You think you're just playing around. And up here, you know it's dead serious. But you finally get to actually play around. Playing around down here was never really fun. Once you finally put away the childish things, you tuck away them temptations, you just sit still for a little while with your desires and your thoughts, and you align them with your heart, with the Holy Spirit, instead of this dude. Let's just call him karma, because, as I was starting to say, when you find yourself in the bedroom together, you and one other person, 1 + 1 = 3. You ain't alone in that bed with one other person. You have always invited a third, and that's either karma or the Holy Spirit, depending on where your heart is. You could be doing the exact same things, but a loveless heart puts you here, and being in love puts you here. And over here, you're just going to need more and more toys, more tips and tricks, more therapy, more lies on the surface of your life because you hate yourself, because you're hating the other person that you're sharing a bed with. And you can see that whole dark way of the wood, I'm pretty sure. And over here, you feel great about what's going on behind closed doors. You want to shout it from the rooftops. You shouldn't. You should shout it with your aura, with your good-ass mood. You don't kiss and tell when you got something good. But anyway, this something new, this third thing that occurs when there is a union of opposites. You got to know that it's following you everywhere you go. Karma or Holy Spirit. The darkness that is division and mutual consumption, or the light that is love, which multiplies and sees one another not as a confection to consume, but another with whom to share the confection, which is the human heart. And that right there is what separates you from the animal kingdom. Every animal's got a heart, but ain't no heart like the human heart, because it's hooked up to all this other stuff, which basically amounts to memory. If an animal life is remembered, it is through a human heart. Let's get technical here. I got something more concrete for you to follow, and I'm calling it the whole 9. So rule number 4, article 1, the whole 9, and then 999, 666 to 999. So y'all got this thing called age of legal consent, and I'm going to tell you that number for me is 17. For the 9 years of 17 to 25, I'm giving you license to play, to research, to catch up to 9 other bodies in your bed, to just discover what it's all about. Have serious girlfriends and boyfriends, have not so serious ones. Just always believe that it's coming from your heart. Learn to discern where that line is between your loins and your longings, your longings. So the whole 9 is 9 years to play, 9 partners to play with. And then we got one more here, 9-year age gap. Don't be with somebody over or under 9 years in age from you. If you need a bigger age gap than that, you're working out some kind of complex, and you are better off unentangled sexually from any of them psychological complexes, which are all part of this dungeon game. Heaven's got a lot more to work with here. It ain't going to be giving you soulmates that are way out of your age range. You got to explore. You got to test things out. You ain't got to take my word for nothing. But if you need a guideline, I made you this whole 9. Okay. I neglected to tell y'all the best news. And that's that I realized we are done with the rules. Here are the 4 rules of Light Club. And that's all I got for you. I might add some articles and sections and stuff here and there, but I totally forgot that I friggin' hate rules. But that's kind of like saying you hate bones. And bones are friggin' rad. So basically, crap's still gonna be confusing, no matter what rule book you got. I love you all so much. May the 4th rule remain with you as you navigate these weird Aquarian years.